Hello folks, and thanks for watching. We're sherwoodphoenix.co.uk. I'm Stephen Pringle, and we've got Dean and Chris who are going to help us today. We're just going to reveal a Steinway Model O that's just come into stock, and it's going to have some work done, so let's have a little look. The guys will just take that out the back. So it's in a lovely satin wood case, and you don't see many of these, which makes it particularly nice. Unfortunately, the piano, I can see immediately, I have seen this piano once before it's came into stock, and certainly it's going to need some work. However, interestingly enough, maybe not as much work as you would think when you look at it in first approach. What I'm going to do is, if we come in and have a look at the case a bit closer, I'll just get it opened up in the meantime. There is quite a lot of like staining and whatnot on the case. You'll see it on the back here. This looks like probably a build-up of wax over the years. Maybe they've been using a wax polish at some point and then just been given a clean with something, and the wax is building up in a particular area, and then it's obviously catching the dirt at the same time. I could be wrong about that, but I have seen this before, and it certainly feels very waxy to the touch, so there's definitely wax within that dirt, and getting that off is quite a job. The actual case itself probably would benefit from a full refinish, but I think we'll do a good clean on it and a bit of a revival on it before we get to that point, because it might just be nice enough the way it is. So let me just see. I'll get the guys back in to take the lid off. If you can give us a wee hand with the lid, and we'll have a look inside a bit closer. I'll just put that back down for you. But it's an absolutely stunning cut of wood. This would be one of Steinway's kind of exclusive range pianos now with this particular finish, and certainly you'll understand once you see it finished why that's the case. Just looking inside immediately, you're getting a quick idea of the lack of attention it's had. It's certainly not had any valeting done as far as a piano's concerned for a long time. You don't see many pianos of this quality in this kind of condition on the inside, unfortunately. The person's not taken a lot of great care of the cleanliness of the piano. But strangely enough, just as a first test, I'll play it over and then I'll invite Helen to give it a try as well. So immediately you can actually hear the piano is more or less in tune with itself. We haven't tuned it, it's literally the way it's come in is the way that you're hearing it just now. So considering it's not been tuned or toned, it does actually sound remarkably good. What I'm going to do is I'll pass you over to Helen and let Helen play a little bit of music whilst I look at the rest of the piano. As you can hear, just briefly there, from a little bit of Helen's playing, but particularly in the top end and the treble, there's quite a lot of brightness and quite a lot of harshness in the tone. Without even taking the action out of the piano, I can tell that it's going to need quite a bit of toning. I think there's going to be enough life left in the action to regain some of that tone. Looking inside again, even just seeing all the dust and
parts of what looks like flower or something like that, and I mean flower as in the plant. It's certainly, it's been completely untouched in there. The good news is that the soundboard is looking in particularly good condition for a piano of this age, which actually just reminds me, we'll just have a quick look at Pierce's piano atlas. The serial number is 154107. So that, I always double check this on the Steinway and Sons website, because they do have a checker as well. But yeah, 154107 would take us to 1911. I don't know if you'll see that on camera there. But yeah, so 150000 is the starting year of 1911. So that puts us bang in the middle as a 1911 piano, which is a nice time for Steinway pianos, to be fair, in general. What we'll do is we'll take the action out, if the guys can come in and give us a little hand with that. Immediately, actually, just interestingly enough, the amount of stir and dust underneath the keyboard there, strangely enough, it does affect its playing, but not as much as you would actually think. Let me get this out of here. Just check, always check. I don't advise anyone doing this at home, and certainly not if you're not a technician. Even to this year, I must have done this something in the region of probably about 7,000 times, and every now and then I still break hammers, but the good news is when I do it, I'm capable of fixing it. So, and it's also, if you don't know what you're doing, the parts can be, they're not expensive as such, but they're still, you normally break the hammer. The hammer normally gets broken round about here, and you find yourself disappointed. And it's normally something in the middle of the piano as well, which is extra annoying. What to do, if one of you gentlemen could give me a quick hand just to lift this out of here, up around, so yeah, thank you. The overall condition of it is very tired. Again, but when I'm playing it under the fingers, you can feel that it's very rattly, and you maybe be able to see. Hard to probably demonstrate that. The key isn't supposed to move sideways like that, and as you can hear me shaking that from left to right, you hear it clicking. Those unwanted noises are horrible when you're playing a piano of this quality. So we will need to fix that, which includes redoing all the felt. We'll show you as we go with part of the restoration. The team will dismantle the action and get it down. We will clean and hoover out all of the dust and stir underneath the action as well, and it will be greasing where appropriate all the metalwork, and certainly replacing all the felts, that's for sure. Looking at the hammers, these hammers possibly have had their day. The reality is we're going to do a sympathetic restoration on this piano at the start. They are particularly flat, but as a test, it's not a great amount of work to give it a try. I'm always curious to see what we can do with the existing hammer. The first kind of rule is there enough? I say, is there enough meat left on the hammer? Is there enough felt left on the hammer in order to actually to get the right quality of tone out of the piano? And one of the things you lose is if you start taking a lot of felt off the top of the hammer, you start to lose the weight in the hammer. Then you start to lose the weight in the action, and it goes through the whole playing experience. So at the point that there's not enough weight on the hammer, you lose the touch, and you also lose the quality of the tone. So after we've exceeded the point where that impedes the playing experience, then we decide we're putting a new set of hammers on it. Unfortunately, as if we do a new set of hammers on it, then the cost of the piano has to go up. So we do normally leave that to the buyer to decide unless it has went far too far, we will always do it. Other than that, it'll be a case of looking at the door skins and at the back, and certainly they are starting to look a bit tired in there, and looking at all the felts, getting them replaced, and certainly having a look at the centre pins and seeing if it's worth replacing all of them at the same time. The keyboard is the original ivory, and certainly that makes the piano very difficult for export purposes, and certainly in 2023 the ivory is a bit of a topic. Some people obviously hate it for the obvious reasons, and some people actually do still prefer it because they believe that you get a different sensation underneath the fingers. It's really a big discussion, but in the meantime we will, because it has the ivory on it, we will restore what is here, and it is restorable, and you'll be able to see the kind of work that we can do to an ivory keyboard in this condition. So that it'll be an interesting project just to see the work getting carried out on this particular action. And then back into the inside, this will need to get a clean out, and certainly the felt on the left here will need replaced, and would you believe it, the obligatory pencil. Again, another thing, I don't know how many pencils we've found, passport pictures and child's toys and engagement rings and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I've never found anything too exciting, but when I do, hopefully I'll catch it on film. But yeah, the damper mechanism, we'll get that clean up, and certainly look at seeing what condition the felts are in, and check the leads in there as well. The leads seem okay just in first inspection. But yeah, we'll give that a full check over, and then again have a look at the felts, the actual damper felts themselves. We might or might not do a restring on this piano. Again, it depends on the customer. I personally think the tone of this piano, by the time we're finished with what we're going to do with it, without doing a restring, without redoing the soundboard, I think it's going to sound pretty good. And then it's down to the customer whether or not they want us to go to that next level. I'm not certainly capable of it and certainly willing to do it, but it's not always necessary. And that's what's important when you're bringing a piano back to life, that you don't necessarily take it too far just for the sake of it. The main reason being is it's very expensive to do the work, and certainly if there's maybe still 2, 3, 4, 5 years worth of life left in a piano, you might as well get the best out of it. So yeah, that's pretty much us. That's the assessment of this piano. There's nothing really much left to talk about. The only other thing that might be worthwhile mentioning is this lovely stool, which has come in with the piano. A piano like this is always difficult to match in colour. It's not a satinwood stool, but it is a lovely stool. Proper dovetail joints and whatnot. I think personally, looking at it, there's no maker's marks on it, but I've seen the mechanism plenty of times before, and I do believe this one's probably a British made stool. We will restore this stool because it will match the piano really nicely. So this will be a good option for this piano as a restored stool. We'll see what top we put on it. Probably put some, we'll probably just put a standard leather top on it, but we'll see what happens. Thanks again for watching, folks. If you've got any questions, feel free to give us a call on 01623 657 301. I'll certainly check the website, sherwoodphoenix.co.uk, and if you want to email me directly, I'm Stephen, so it's Stephen@sherwoodphoenix.co.uk. Bye for now.